Okay, so for today's assignment, we're going to be taking a look at some things that I have laying around, and I'll try to give you some insight into my life, how I got here, how these things impacted my life and made me who I am today. So I guess we'll just jump right into it. The first few items to display are right here, and they may look like a hodgepodge kind of assortment, but bear with me, it'll make sense in a quick second here. So I grew up in Southern California, actually Los Angeles area, and we didn't have a whole lot of money growing up. And for as far back as I can remember, every year for Christmas we would get the same thing. We would get a box of name brand cereal. I always got Life, $2, and some kind of candy or whatever. My preference was the fruit stripe. I actually had a hell of a time trying to find this stuff to put in the video. Anyways, it had a really lasting impact on me that we didn't have growing up, and I wasn't necessarily aware of it until high school, really, when people start to care what kind of shoes you wear and if you have a car or not. So I decided my senior year of high school that school just wasn't for me. I was going to drop out and get a job, start working. So I never actually graduated high school. And I think a lot of that had to do with, I wouldn't say resentment, maybe resentment. But I loathed the fact that we didn't have when others did. And I think that I let that define me in a big way. And so I was kind of like obsessive about making something out of myself, or at least what I thought was making something out of myself. I went through a series of jobs, and it seemed like no matter how hard I worked, I could only get so far in the organization because I didn't have a high school diploma. I had no college. So I ended up joining the Army, which leads us to the next display. I ended up joining the Army. I was in for 6 years. I got to deploy, and I had the privilege of serving with some really excellent guys. This once upon a time ago, this was my uniform, and there's some awards and stuff on the wall from my time in service. I actually ended up meeting this lovely lady. I had no hair. Trip out on that. Eventually, don't worry, I started growing hair. But long story short, I met her while I was in the Army, and we got married, and I loved it. It was the greatest job I ever had to this day. By far my favorite job. And I would not have left save one circumstance. Actually, one of the guys I was serving with, very close friend of mine, ended up dying the day that his daughter was born, and he never met her. And my wife was close to his wife, and I promised her, if we ever have kids, that'll be it. So lo and behold, she said, "Hey honey, we're gonna have a kid," and my second contract was coming to an end, so we just decided that that was it. Let's get to the third thing we've got here. So this is the remembrance bracelet from my buddy, and huge impact on my life. But I ended up having these three lovely guys after I got out of the Army, and they're my entire world. And I think the values that I learned in the Army, the experiences that I had, and specifically learning to value family and relationships more than physical things is something that I'm gonna take with me forever. So yeah, to recap, came basically from nowhere. Did a bunch of nothing, and then joined the Army. Had an amazing time, learned a lot, and now I've got three wonderful boys, beautiful wife, and we live in Queen Creek, Arizona. Love it out here, and I ended up getting my GED. I got my associate's degree. This is my last semester. I'll be getting my bachelor's, and I'm really excited for where my life is going. I'm doing well in my career, and yeah, it's exciting. I'm looking forward to watching the rest of your all's videos. Good luck.